A sporting.
Even if that song is hitting someone very hard, they can't even dance. They're keeping it to themselves.
A sporting note on which to start this. Later on the show, we'll bring you that Heart of Oak 109 years old. I'm going to expose.
Oh, you're owning. Quiet and don't be. Okay, but you know the original. Do you know the original lyrics of that? Masa. Did you hear that?
When it comes, do you know when Kumasi Asante Kotoko was winning titles?
What's your anthem again? What's your anthem again?
Relax.
I can't even remember your anthem.
Listen.
Apart from
football.
What's your anthem?
Bobo.
Masa.
Football is not about anthems.
Well, congratulations to the great Accra Hearts of Oak. They are 109 today.
Right. Yeah. You see, that's exactly what's going to be reflected on, because is it our roots, or our roots?
Yeah. Our roots are old. Yep. Apparently, that's the original lyrics.
Yeah. I
like it. Be quiet and don't be silly, you know? I'm telling you, but I'm not telling you. I'm singing an anthem.
Look, the Kumasi Asante Kotoko fans this morning, reach out and let's do something for Kumasi, the Accra Hearts of Oak people.
It's our day. But congratulations to Accra. If you ask me why I support them, I don't know. I just know that they have a great anthem and they're a great club. And I live in their city.
You could have supported Olida Day. Olin Konson. Oli Rosalinda.
You know,
Oli Gbogbo.
Just like
but some of them I can't mention on.
Just like Manchester United started failing me. I went to, was it Kwando Hearts of Lion or something like that?
Yeah.
But Hearts is always in my blood. So I'd always come back to my roots. Okay. We've got a documentary produced by George Adiginia that we will share with you as Accra Hearts of Oak celebrates 109 today. So watch out for that. But right now we have to do the newspapers, tell you what's making headlines. Ben?
Well, let me start with the Daily Graphic. It says government bails out 8 SOEs. They'll receive payroll support. I'm talking about some state-owned enterprises, and this appears to be becoming the norm. A lot of these state-owned enterprises are non-performing, and it's becoming problematic. They have to be bailed out. In fact, when you check from the statistics that government itself puts out there, not a good picture, not a rosy one. Ministry coordinates COVID-19 researches to respond to pandemic. Domelevo, others spend 3.3 million Ghana cedis on foreign travel. That's according to a report. You remember at a point in time, he was also being taken on that subject. When you go to, let me do the center spread of the Daily Graphic before I move on to the back page. President Kufuor bids farewell to 3 envoys. I'm talking about those from South Africa, Namibia, and Ethiopia. COVID-19 suffocates 89% of businesses. That's an interesting one there on the business front. Now, on the back page of the Daily Graphic, Buffer Stock Company establishes food safety department, and Chinese government presents PPE to Lekma Hospital. That's it for the Daily Graphic this morning.
All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. But before that, good morning to Nana Ansa Obofo, Accra Hearts of Oak. That's the Great Oak. You have to come and support.
There was a time you guys you were celebrating an anniversary like that, and I think your banner had a mistake, and it was so glaring. It was right in front of your office.
Massa,
you can't even get.
We're celebrating.
Common spelling on a banner you can't get right. You want to come and do
really? Really? Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Times this day. Election of Joe Biden won't affect Ghana-US relations, says Dr. Vladimir Enchidanso. 2 policemen hospitalized following attack by Kwawomofo residents. Government launches 3rd phase nationwide market disinfection exercise in Bono region. And on COVID-19, the impact on businesses. We're told that 19 had hit SOEs post 1.55 billion Ghana cedis lost. Government offers them payroll support. If you go to page 3, where we've got the crime-related stories, it says 2 armed men attacked Sandema Church of Pentecost, both with offering. They actually took the offering of the day and they went at the time when the money was being counted. So they took the money, they took some tablets and phones from the person's presence. Details here. Also, suspect remanded for alleged robbery, rape. It says the Obuasi Circuit Court has remanded the 23-year-old suspected armed robber who allegedly attempted to rape a 24-year-old who bit off his penis in the process at the Abompe, in the Obuasi municipality of the Ashanti region. So this is the story that we shared with you. This young lady who was dragged but recovered and realized what was happening to her, which was this 24-year-old who attempted to sleep with her. So we're not sure. I guess in the end, when the case is dealt with, we will understand if it was rape or it was attempted rape, but he's been remanded. Also, 2 policemen hospitalized following an attack. This is actually the headline on the front page. It says 2 policemen of the Tamale police station are fighting for their lives at the hospital after they were violently attacked by residents of Paumufuo, a suburb of Tamale, in the northern regional capital last Thursday. And then one last crime story. Court remands 3 alleged fake agrochemical dealers. And this happened in the Ahafo region. Details there on page 3, back on the back page. Pokwase interchange completion now. Time now, March 2021. And for those of us who use that stretch, this is a big blow because we were hoping that it would be commissioned this month or at least before the elections. And then President inaugurates 120-bed Bekwai Municipal Hospital. That's it for the Times for me.
Well, let's go to the new publisher then, and I'll go back to that story you started with in that paper. I chewed his penis to save my life. Rape victim tells her story. And the twist there is that when the gentleman was, he went to that medical facility, he was saying he had been robbed and that indeed one of the robbers had bitten off his penis. But then the tip-off was given by the lady and her family, and we saw what happened. Of course, we await seeing how this will pan out. But former MPs join Subin MPP campaign. That's with the new publisher newspaper. Then phase 3 of market disinfection takes off. So those are the major stories from the new publisher newspaper this morning.
All right, let's do the Daily Dispatch. Front page of the Daily Dispatch says, persons not wearing nose mask increased from 18% to 72%. Possible lockdown after elections. Paper is asking, Dominic Nitiwu aims to increase 2016 victory margin of nearly 12,000 votes to 17,000 in Bimbilla. I guess we were to see no compensation for 14 who died and 75 injured in collapse of Melcom building 8 years ago. That's how the front page looks like. And the Melcom story, something that happened 14 years ago. There are pictures to tell the story then and now. So they tell you the Achimota Melcom after the collapse, and then there's a picture before the collapse. Hopefully we can get into a bit of the details in the course of our review this morning.
Let's check out the Custodian newspaper. It says lawyers for GO1 go wild as Mahama Amidu fight over €5 million Airbus bribery scandal. There's also this one, Free SHS is changing lives in female education. The Sirigu Naba has been speaking. Benefson poster has also been talking, and he says it's beer bar talk. All apologies to the beer bar squad. It's beer bar talk to compare Biden's victory to Ghana's election history. And then learn from Trump's one-term presidency. That's the CVM to John Dramani Mahama. When you go to the back page, a bit of sad news there. Ghana midfielder Winfo Kobina sentenced to 4 months in prison in Albania. You can actually check out, the picture of him there. Sad development.
What did he do?
And he's been sentenced to 4 months in prison in Albania after being found guilty of forgery of official documents. That's according to GhanaSoccerNet.com. And they are saying the former Hearts of Oak playmaker was hit with the shocking sentence at the Tirana court on Tuesday after he was found guilty of forging his residence permit.
One can have to open it twice at night.
We'll get a better replacement for Victorien Adebayo, Inter Allies coach. But it's a sad development with Winful Kobina. We just pray for the best for him. But let's beware, yeah? Forging documents, you get caught. The Dispatch?
No,
we're done with the
Daily Guide.
Okay.
Your hate for Accra had to folk, eh?
Oh, no,
God!
I can't.
Listen, on the day when we're at 109, you shouldn't even be mentioning, like, it's not a rivalry, okay? Because when you are in this
city, the story's right here. I didn't concoct the story. The story's right here.
Benjamin Akapo, when you are in this city, I think the people who should be fighting with us is
Oli.
Yeah, and they aren't even talking. Like, you come from where? How many hours to Ashanti region?
Let me be their spokesperson.
Masa, let's do the Daily Guide. The Daily Guide newspaper front page, wear face mask, Blade tells NPP, 30 Bantama shoemakers get a sense of support. Opuni signed $19.9 million contract with expired certificate, according to a witness. It says an Accra High Court has heard how Dr. Stephen Opuni, while in charge at the Ghana Cocoa Board, allegedly signed a contract for the supply of fertilizer for the 2014-2015 crop season with an expired certificate from the supplier. But this was just a witness account. Free SHS boosting female education, and third, public disinfection begins. That's how it looks like on the front page of the Daily Guide, as you can see. And then in the center spread, they've got the News One entertainment. Daddy Lumba endorses a Kufuor in the new song. That's not new. I think recently when there was the conversation about people endorsing candidates, there was the warning that you must have a strong grounding. And one of the examples that was given was Daddy Lumba. They say, look at him. His career is still the same. The people who love his songs will continue to love it, but he endorses a political party. So you have to have a good grounding, like Daddy Lumba, for instance, to be able to do that. Don't just follow the money. But that's it for the Daily Guide. Ben?
Ayo, DL, if you don't have that kind of clout, they say monkeys play in sizes. You better know your size before you play that game. Shall we go back to Kelvin Boy? No, I will not do that, because that'll be suicidal. The other day you murdered him. The Daily Statesman, Kwabena Japong unveils Drive the Vote campaign. We trust you more than Mahama. Assembly members pledge support for Akufo-Addo. When you turn to page 2 of that paper, it actually talks about how these assembly members, their spokesperson being Stephen Kwesi Akwa, intimated that former President Mahama made them a similar promise in 2012, which he did not fulfill. And so if the NPP is going to do something similar, they trust the NPP instead. Now, there's also this one, NPP tightens COVID-19 protocols as active cases increase. Interestingly, only yesterday when I was speaking with the likes of Dr. Asa Asante and Akwesi Boateng, so they were intimating that the political actors themselves, the leaders, were culpable. Look at the rallies, the mini rallies you like, they've been organizing. And I saw a photo yesterday. I don't want to mention the name of the political party, but if you see the mass of people in there, and we're saying, what, don your mask and do this and you'll get what, and you see the mass of people and this political party, you ask yourself, what are we doing to ourselves? So I totally side with what Dr. Asa Asante said. That will has not been there, and he called it unfortunate. Yeah,
but we know that the information minister sought to address that issue in the way when he said, well, there hasn't been any direct link to activities of political parties and the increase in the cases
Mama,
now.
I have a simple question.
So
where is the science of it? Is there empirical evidence?
No, so I guess that's what he sought to say, that from the data collected,
they don't
you
have
can't
evidence
link it to that.
So they can't even go for. They don't have evidence against it. They don't.
Wow. Okay, let's do, are you done with that?
I have 2 more papers. Yes, I'm done with it.
Because I'm going to do the Finder now. All right, let's do the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder says Springfield Eni ordered to merge oil fields to ensure optimum exploitation and recovery of Ghana's petroleum resources, according to the Energy Minister, Peter Amewu. And this act also has some legal backing. It comes from Regulations 56 of the Petroleum Exploration and Production General Regulation 2018. So under the arrangement, Afena, which is operated by Springfield, holds 54.545% of the combined field on account of the volume of discovered oil and gas resources in the West Cape 3 Points block. And then Eni, on the other hand, operates the Sankofa field. It holds 45.8% interest in the combined field. And this has been communicated to the parties according to the story. Back on the front page, 19 SOEs post losses of 1.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2020, according to Ken Oforiata. Free SHS, savior of girls' education. That's according to Sirigu Naba. More regional ministers touts government achievements. NPP charges rank and file to adhere to COVID-19 protocols. By way of headlines, that's what you find in the Finder front page.
Let's do the BNFT. That's the paper I'm going to wrap up with. It says government to reduce cost of electricity to power industrialization. And when you get a bit into that story, it talks about how currently Ghana has one of the highest per kilowatt cost of electricity to industry in the West African sub-region, and government meaning to do something about that. It's only in recent times that we were told about, we've had this excess power and all of that, and now we're told we're going to start exporting to neighboring West African countries. I think Mali also was mentioned, or was it? So we'll see how things pan out, or was it Burkina Faso? And then third nationwide disinfection exercise to curb COVID-19 spread begins. Markets in a huffle benefit from exercise. We need comprehensive development plan for resilient economy. That's according to the KPMG. And then gas, nuclear power, secure economies, energy future. On the back page of the BNFT, SNIT recovers 200 million Ghana cedi legacy investment related costs. Those are the stories from the Business and Financial Times. I guess we can
last paper for me. There are two interesting stories in this paper. Republic Press. I'll beat up Kennedy Japan across the chief threatens. And then man jailed 20 years for defiling 5-year-old. The banner headline, NDC runs from Airbus, makes capital of a Japan deal. But I want to zero in on this on page 4. It says the chief of Asing Akroso in the eastern region, Nana Kwabeno-Fori II, has threatened to beat up the NPP MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohinie Japan. The chief is fuming of allegations by the MP that he received gifts from the NDC presidential candidate to the detriment of development projects in his area. And Kennedy Japan allegedly said these on Sunday. So they're giving you the back story to this. And this is linked to the 2016 election, where the allegation was made that the chief was given some Land Cruisers and some other stuff, all contained in this. So you can read more and get exactly what the chief allegedly intends to do when he finds the NP. And this other one, a circuit court in Accra has sentenced a 38-year-old welder to 20 years imprisonment for defiling a 5-year-old girl in a car at Spentex. John Appill is said to have taken the victim to the car under the pretext of teaching her how to drive. How to drive, a 5-year-old, but ended up having sex with her. He was charged with defilement. He pleaded not guilty. The court presided over by Mrs. Christiana Khan, however, found Appill guilty at the end of the trial and convicted him accordingly. There's more to the story when you grab the newspaper. Ben?
That is sick. It is twisted. And a 5-year-old, I mean, how do you teach a 5-year-old how to drive? But I say sometimes too, sometimes parental monitoring. Where were the parents of this person? You can't be around the child all the time, but keeping an eye on the child could, because obviously you can't give this explanation that, where are you taking the child to? Oh, I'm going to teach her how to drive. Makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. And I've got to the point where when you look at our criminal code, Act 29, I begin to ask myself, is it that we need stiffer penalties for people when it comes to these acts of defilement, rape, and the rest? I mean, what is it? because the penalties are stiff. Anyway, let me get into the daily graphic now. It gets exasperating.
It's heartbreaking, actually, because she's only 5.
I remember some time back, I think she was just a few months old. She died. And there was another incident I can't even relate on television. Government bails out 8 SOEs. They will receive payroll support. And for me, a bit of an issue there. The Ministry of Finance finalizing plans to provide a payroll support for 8 state-owned enterprises whose operations have been disrupted by the coronavirus disease restrictions. Now, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, who disclosed this in Accra yesterday, said an assessment of the impact of the pandemic on 28 SOEs had revealed that as many as 19 of them were projected to post losses of up to 1.55 billion Ghana cedis for this year. More specifically, he said entities such as the Metro Mass Transit, Intercity, STC, and the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority recorded revenue declines of 62%, 40%, and 71% respectively between March and April this year. Now, to wind up, according to the ministry, the situation has become so dire that the ministry is currently financing or finalizing plans to provide payroll support for these 8 SOEs. What I'm about to say next might rub off in a certain way on certain people, but my thinking is, yes, let's maintain our state-owned enterprises, but if they are non-performing year after year, decade after decade, privatization and the rest, what do we do with them? Shelf them? Privatize? We've seen instances where private, links have come in and they've changed matters. I don't know what your thinking is, but if you look at the list, and I've done research on this before, a lot of our SOEs are simply not performing. They are rather a drain on our state coffers, right, rather than, contributing something to the state's kitty.
I think sometimes the disappointment is we have people head these institutions who come from private sector, and usually when they're appointed, we're excited because we feel like how private sector runs, that's the whole mentality. That's what something is going to change. But they go and they do the same old, what we've seen, and then we make nothing out of it. It becomes just an entity that employs, in this instance, where we even have to intervene to pay for salaries of some of the institutions.
Exactly. So what this means in business terms, what this means is that the company has gone kaput. You can't even pay your workers.
But what happens, private sector, if they were experiencing this, they would have taken some measures, either cut down, they would have done something.
That is why I brought in the bit about private enterprise. Sometimes if you can get private enterprise to take over and they're going to deliver, maybe it's an option we should be. I know we want to maintain the state-owned enterprises. We've lost so many state-owned, factories and all of that. But sometimes you think about it, year on year, losses. Who loses? The ordinary taxpayer.
I think we have to agree that government can't do business. We can run stuff.
But I'll wrap up with this one from the Daily Graphic. COVID-19 suffocates 89% businesses, and the story says that that number of businesses, or that percentage of businesses, have been affected. The situation has compelled many firms to operate between 25 and 50% capacity. That's the story.
Let's wrap up by telling you what's making headlines on our website, myjoyonline.com, as we make way for sports. On the Ejapa deal, Martin Amidu deserves no applause. NDC contribution was the deal breaker, says Inusa Hussaini on PM Express yesterday. There were other contributors. You can follow the conversation if you missed it. Plenty of stories on my Online.
So they are basically saying, give him no credit.
Yeah. There's this other one about Manasseh Awani asking his lawyers to take Kennedy Chepong on for some comments that he's been making about him. He says that his lawyers earlier had asked that, it's okay, don't pay attention, but he keeps doing it. Some of the comments that he made was related to the PPA saga, even though we know that the man heading the PPA had now been sacked, making suggestions or allegations to the effect that he had been given some monies. So you can read on that story and plenty other stories on my Online.
But at least let's make mention of this one. The independent candidate, Asiedu Walker, I'll have only 25 ministers. Interesting. That would be interesting to see. Anyway, so it's a wrap on the news review. Mama V and
her. Rose, Rose.
I nearly forgot this one.
Happy anniversary, Accra Hearts of Oaks.
And on that anniversarial note, happy birthday to Dorcas Elik Blim Tabitha Ameonu. Today is your birthday. You are November's own, November 11. Happy birthday.
And that's an Accra Hearts of Oaks supporter. Stay with us.
You wish.